Every time you start a story, you're not looking for the details, so a lot of things often go overlooked, especially the minor things. But with the Mary, every time you go back, those details plays so loudly in your mind because you know everything that is about to happen. This is the ship that had carried the Straw Hats as far as it could, farther than it should have, because from the beginning we were told that this ship was not meant to traverse somewhere like the Grand Line. It was not a ship that was meant to go around the world, but it went as far as it could, and the entire crew loved it for it. Everything you see on the Mary is like, you know, a story that is being told. This part here is when they ran into Laboon and the head snapped off. This like bottom thing here at the what's called on the mast, that's when Luffy just ripped it off and also stabbed Laboon. But you also have smaller things, like I think it might be on the other side, but one of these where Wapol just took a bite out of it. And then you have this section here of where when they finally got to Water 7, the Mary just broke. And it's perfectly symbolic of what is going to happen to the crew while they are here. Much like the Mary, pieces of it just broke apart, and they are barely being held together. Usopp and Robin leave the crew. There's an entire divide that is happening within the Straw Hats, and no one knows how to deal with it. So rather than let everything break apart, they're going to use whatever they can to try and keep this together and go for as long as they can. So when they invade Enies Lobby to try and get Robin back, to show her that, no, we're not just going to let it end like this. We're going to make sure that if we go down together. And then at the very end, in a final moment, in its final voyage, it is able to come back and save the Straw Hats and carry them to safety one last time. At this point, we learn about the Cloud and how it's the will that a ship carries, and it only reveals itself typically at the end of its life, but only to a crew that truly loves it. So when we get this scene, it's all the more heartbreaking when in this moment, during the Mary's funeral, it's trying to comfort the Straw Hats. This is the first time that the Straw Hats have collectively mourned over someone together. And this is a member of their crew, someone that they're never going to see again, but someone who they'll never forget. And this is very important to Luffy's character development as well, because of the fact that this is the first time that he is openly mourning someone with others who can help him get through the grieving process. He has not done this since Sabo. This is why the crew reacts the way that they do when Ace dies, because they understand completely what Luffy is going through, because it is exactly what they went through in this moment. This is the first time of genuine loss that the crew has ever faced together. They know what it's like to be alone in these moments, but this is the first time that they are together, and they're the ones keeping themselves together, like how the Mary tried to keep itself together on its final voyage. And in the cycle of death and rebirth, the will of the Mary is now carried on by the Sunny, because inherited wills and carrying on the dreams of others are huge themes in One Piece. Not only the people on the crew that carry on the wills of those who came before them, but the Sunny being the next ship to carry the Straw Hats to their dreams, because that was the will of the Mary. The Going Mary may be gone, but it is never forgotten, because it will always live embodied within the Thousand Sunny. The best representation of that I've seen in the series was actually from one of the movies, where it recapped the Enies Lobby saga, and you have the Cloud of the Mary jumping off onto the Sunny, and it transitions from white to orange. That was a beautiful moment to show that no matter what happens, the Mary will always be with them. And they took the lessons that they learned with the Mary and apply them directly to the Sunny as well, because they love the Sunny just as much. It is the ship that will carry them through the new world to their dreams. The Mary was the ship that embodied who the Straw Hats are and what they are willing to accomplish, whereas the Sunny is the ship that embodies who the Straw Hats will become, what their true potential is. Because if you haven't been able to tell already, the Going Mary was a sheep that had the heart of a lion, that was able to go through any trial and tribulation up until the very end. No matter how dangerous the seas were, no matter how dangerous the enemies they faced were, it pushed through till the very end. And then you have the Sunny, which is a lion with the heart of a sheep. It is something that is built to make sure that it will last through anything, but ultimately is still kind, caring, and gentle, because that is the will that it carries. One more thing that I'd like to add, though, is that the Mary also perfectly embodies the idea of you don't know what you have until it's gone. No one could fathom not having the Mary anymore, which is why it broke everybody, especially in this scene where everyone is mourning over her. When the Mary is trying to comfort them, saying that, like, oh, you guys were always so kind, and Luffy immediately saying, like, no, we were terrible, like, we didn't care, we kept breaking you, and then Usopp tried to fix you, but it wasn't enough. We should have been more careful. But the Mary is also completely understanding in this moment. And it's a lesson that they carry on towards the Sunny, because they know they can't be as reckless as they once were, because ultimately they feel guilty, because the reason why this is happening is because most of the damage that they took was because of how reckless they were. The Sunny, yes, is a stronger ship, but they understand the lessons from before. They understand that this is not something that is to be taken lightly. This is something that it's an experience that they all learn from. They loved the Mary, and the Mary loved them. So they made sure to learn from the time that they all spent together. And that's probably also why whenever the Sunny seems to take any sort of damage, that they all freak out just as much, because they know what has happened before. Like when Big Mom just ripped open some of the deck, or when Kaido's Beast Pirates tried to blow it up in Wano. But thanks to people like Frankie always making sure that the ship is well taken care of, they know that this is something that they have to prevent, but it's not something that can happen as easily, because they all make sure that we need to take care of our ship, because this is not only the new ship that represents our crew going forward, but it is also the ship that carries on the will of the Mary. Now, I may or may not go cry over a boat again,